too. As my voice goes in and out, but I am the dream, y'all. It's Saturday. It's college football. Got Dr. Dan in the house and my boy Matt Hatter. What's up?
It sounds like Ric Flair got grabbed by the nuts and yelled, "Woo!" What's going
What's
on,
happening,
man? How you
boys?
doing, brother? I got the evil genius as well on the line, Mr. Dr. Dan. How you doing today, brother, man?
I'm doing good, man. There's some real good football on today.
Oh,
real
absolutely.
good football.
Looking forward to a full collegiate slate of football and ready to rock. Dream, great night for you last night, man.
Yes, sir. It was a little something. About time your boy got his guy. I finally got my legs back a little bit. So, yeah, we had a good night. I called my man, the Black Mamba, came into Brooklyn, and I told you guys that Brooklyn net team is as bad as it gets.
Unbelievable, man. And Lakeshore was actually down 7, like right out the gate too, man.
I know they were, because somebody gave me a quick little text about how the Black Mob was going to be a wrap by the middle of the season. I got a quick little text from my boy talking about you should have took the Knicks.
Yo, I'll tell you this. I was watching the Knicks game, and I flip over to the Brooklyn Nets game real quick. My dad just looks at me like I'm crazy. He goes, "You better turn that off or the TV's going to just melt."
Oh, my God.
Just melt in front of your eyes. It's like watching just two dumpster fires.
Dude, I'll tell you right now, man, I did a little experiment with the New York Knickerbockers, and that has come to a close already, man. They had the Milwaukee Bucks up 10 right out the gate, man. In the first, 3 minutes of the game, I'm like, oh, this is not going to be good. I don't know, man. It just seems like they get up to play decent teams, and then, a winnable game in their house, they lose.
Dude, I told you, I'm not the craziest about that Knick team.
No, apparently not, man.
No.
Apparently not.
But you know what? The other thing, too, is they should be scoring more points than that. I know it's early, but I still think they should lean on Porzingis even more. I mean, he's 7'3". I understand he's got game everywhere. Just get that boy in the post and feed him the ball. You can roll that, that inside-out game with him and Anthony, a little better than they're doing. I don't know, man. I mean, they're trying. The offense just doesn't look that fluid.
No, man, it was ugly basketball, and I mean, you figure with Lopez there and Porzingis and Carmelo Anthony and Vujicic and a whole package that they could, it's a pretty decent roster. It's just like they just can't put it together, and I don't know what Fishbone is doing. Fishbone's just sitting there quiet.
Decent roster compared to who, though? That's what I keep trying to. You guys keep killing me with this decent roster, but then
compared to all
I agree with you, Dream.
Compared to all the sub 500 teams, you got to remember, dude, you're gonna get 16 teams into the playoffs.
Oh, no doubt. I know, I hear that, but I'm just saying, though, they're still just right on par with the rest, except you throw a splash of Carmelo in. So, you're thinking that's going to get you far, but Carmelo is just not that type of player. And that's what I keep screaming about with the Knicks. If I was the Knicks, I know they're not going to do it because whatever, but the Knicks, I felt that they should have packaged Carmelo and got him up out of there when it was an opportunity for that to happen and bring some more talent in, because he's just not the guy who makes players around him play better.
What I think you do, depending on the season, I mean, if the season is – the problem is because you get so many teams into the playoffs, especially in the East, you're never really out of it. So, but what I would do is I'd let Melo get his stats up, and I think you'd still be able to package him for a decent offer before the trade deadline as someone that needs a scorer.
I don't know now because they just gave him that – he just got a big contract, Dan.
Yeah, but, the money is the money. Signing trades happen in the NBA all the time.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, no, you're right.
So I don't know if Phil was presented with an offer where you're talking about, maybe the Knicks eat some money and they get a dope point guard. I think you got to take that offer because I don't know. I don't know. I think the team overall is a mess. I never loved Melo. He was a great college player because in college, one dude can win it all. It doesn't work like that in the NBA.
Oh,
you know what? Melo's a dope. He's a dope. If he played with LeBron, he could be great if he had another great player to play with him. If he could be definitely a great Scottie Pippen role type. If a
either
Jordan
that
was
or
there.
he needs a. I think honestly he'd be better if he had someone like a Stockton. Someone like that where. Because I could see him with a dope point guard running that, Stockton Malone type offense that you used to see back in the day. That's where I could see him thrive, but they just don't have the legs They don't have the speed or the quickness at that point guard position. I mean, they have some veteran guys that can handle the ball decently, but they're not going to get out on breaks. They're not going to make, those really difficult passes. I understand high basketball IQ is important, but at some point they got to get the athleticness in there too.
You know where I think Carmelo would be dope, and you guys are probably going to shake your head when I say this. Carmelo would be so dope in Oklahoma City.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think anybody would be dope in Oklahoma City.
Exactly. Let's talk about a better team that needs, a little bit of shooting. Probably someone like the Grizzlies, Dream.
Nah. You know where I think Carmelo. No, you know where I think Carmelo would honestly thrive.
Oh, the Bulls.
Well, Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he would have been good in Miami before Miami did what they did, I think. But the Bulls actually.
What was Goran with Dragic? Because I felt if the Knicks were able to land Dragic, that would have been. That's the money right there. That's the money because you have kind of a reduced Dwayne Wade now in Miami. You have Melo in there, and if you had Dragic up here playing the point, that's a completely different team. I think that's what this team needs. I've been saying it forever. It's like the Giants need a middle linebacker. The Knicks need a solid, not even solid, a money point guard.
I think the Giants need a whole hell of a lot more than just a middle.
Yeah,
hey man, they got Ninja Turtle JPP coming back on Sunday, baby.
No doubt, JPP
Four finger gloves.
Going to make all the difference in the world right there.
He's going to let him give up 48 points instead of 52.
Not to Jameis. We'll beat the Bucks. We'll beat the Bucks, but then we'll get blown out by like 60 in the next game.
That's what Atlanta said.
Yes.
Well, that division. That division game. I should have never put a suicide pick on that.
Yeah, hey, it is what it is, man. Guys, we are on Twitter right now at SBTV Nation and SBTVNation.com.
Oh, we kicked it with the ice last night, guys. We got a little two-piece in there. Hat had the who'd you have, Hat?
Nobody.
No, I thought you gave out an ice pick yesterday. I remember you giving out an ice pick. No,
I was looking at leans, but
the Stars.
Yeah, that was a lean though.
Okay. Well, Hat liked the Stars yesterday. I liked the Rangers, who beat the Avalanche, which was nice. And then we loved the Ducks. The Anaheim Mighty Ducks was just awesome. They came out the gate, right out of the gate, scored first, then scored another goal. And I pretty much knew it was a wrap, so I just took it to bed because, as you all know, Call of Duty came out yesterday. So I was saving the country all day, y'all.
Oh, nice. Good for you, man. Good for you.
Oh, man. So how do you feel about how do you feel about my Rangers being the favorites to win it all?
Dan, you know what? I like it. I think you're going to be very happy in the product so far. As long as you know what, the key object, obviously, with hockey in any sport is as long as everybody stays healthy, it's going to work. I mean, they're right now, and Hat will tell you because Hat's into them now. They're getting it done, man. I like how they're getting it done defensively, not necessarily so much on the offensive end, but they play really great defense. You're getting great play out of the goalie. I mean, they're playing good hockey right now, player.
For sure. And the other thing too is the Islanders are just a mess.
Dude. Oh, yeah. Well,
they're sending down Strome.
Yeah.
50 points last year.
Yeah, the first issue with Islanders was they had the Tavares got, the flu or something, but it was like for a week. It wasn't like, I was like, why is this guy? So I'm wondering if maybe there was something else, behind the scenes that they're maybe not letting completely out. But right now, they are having a little bit of disarray with that team. I think they'll be able to pull it together as you know what? You can't stop great talent, and a great player like Tavares, like Kane, like we've seen Gretzky in the past, even Yager, not so much now, but as in the past, will lead a team when he needs to. So once I think Tavares gets himself together, I think they'll be back to winning the games that they should win. I don't necessarily know that they're going to be playing at the high level they were last year, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that Metropolitan Division is also incredibly tough. Yeah. I mean, the Atlantic, you have the Canadians, and that's really it because the Senators are in second place in the Atlantic. They have the same record as the Islanders, so...
The Habs are going sick this year.
I got to be honest with you. The Habs and the Dallas Stars, to me, just by watching, the ice, moving forward, just what I've been watching so far, they seem to be like the most well-rounded teams, like very crisp.
Yeah, I really like that St. Louis team, though.
Oh,
don't let the Stars fool you, though.
Okay.
Because the Stars do this year. this, Dan's laughing. But the Stars do this year in and year out. They're like dope right at the beginning, scoring a lot of points, doing their thing, and then they start their slide, like right after the All-Star break, they start sliding, and then it's like you can't even get a win out them. So be careful with them.
Of hockey.
Yeah.
All right, guys. All right, sounds good. So why don't we jump right into college? How about that? And we will have a conversation. We're going to be calling Dennis Dodd in about 10 minutes from CBS Sports to break down 3 big games. But, right now I want to get right into this. So let me just switch it up, and we will go from there, guys. You ready to rock? All right, man. Let's do this, guys. So what we're going to do right now is I want to talk about the first one here. I want to talk about Florida and Vanderbilt, man. What do you guys think of Florida? They basically right now, if they win this particular game, they will clinch the SEC East and be in that championship. So what's your thoughts on this particular game, Dream?
I absolutely like Florida in this spot. We know that Vanderbilt's a weak team. They're not playing that great this year. 3-8 is their record on the season. 3-5. And I'm not impressed with Vandy at all. They lost to South Carolina, and how I feel about how bad South Carolina is. Yeah, they got a win over Missouri last week. They beat them 10-3. I don't know if you want to hang your hat on that. I'm not really going to go ham with that. Yeah. Florida, playing good football defensively. I'm not the most excited about Florida's offense. I really don't love their offense. I think it's okay. I don't think it's great. I don't think they really scare you, but it's okay. I mean, Greer's got great numbers, though, when you look at it. 1,200 yards passing with 10 touchdowns. Those are good numbers. But it's still, there's something about their offense that it just doesn't, it just doesn't float my boat. I like Florida to get this game won. However, 20 points is way too many points. That's what Vegas got as a line. I think 20 points is way too many points.
Crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
You guys think so, huh?
I do. So I think if you get this out of the 20-point range, I don't know. I'm thinking probably 13.5. You'll be good. 2 touchdowns. I think you'll be good. But if you get it lower than that, please do, because this could be a game that they only win by 10 points.
I couldn't agree more. I really like the under in this game.
Okay.
Florida has a really, really, really good defense, but Vanderbilt, that's all they have.
Right.
Defense. Yeah. That's all they have. So when you say 20 points, I mean, you saw an absolutely devastated Georgia team last week get beat by 24, and I think that's why it is where it is. But, you can't predict a team not to score at least 1 touchdown, and I think if, Vanderbilt puts up 7 or 10 points, I don't know if Florida puts up 30. So I think the under looks good here, but yeah, 20 points is way, way, way too
much. And I don't advocate though, because guys are gonna. I know some of you guys are gonna want to take Vandy with all them points and sit there and nail bite.
Take them with 30.
I don't really recommend that. Because they could get blown out. You know what I'm saying? That's definitely available for you. So
I think they're gonna.
Yeah, I don't know about getting blown out because I know
Florida hasn't blown anyone out though. I mean, except for New Mexico State.
That's because Dan Hack keeps thinking that Florida is going to get into the playoffs. I keep telling him it's not happening.
I mean, you're talking about a Florida team that beat East Carolina at home by a touchdown. At Kentucky, remember, nail biter, 5 points. Won by 1 point Tennessee. They did blow out Ole Miss. The Mizzou game, 21-3, still wasn't a cover. LSU lost. And then, the Georgia game last week where I know everybody's in love with, thinking that Florida played great and their defense is good. But I don't know. I mean, 27 points on Georgia at this time, what Georgia looks like, doesn't impress me enough. But look, if you're going to play Vandy, I would say at least get it up to 30. I think you're safe there. But I just wouldn't go near it.
No, Florida, I agree with you, Dan.
Florida beat this Vandy team big time last year. They stomped them last year, man.
Well, hopefully the guys from last year will come back.
30. Got a good amount of them, actually.
Including a quarterback, by the way, who definitely is not back.
No, definitely not, man. But taking a look at it, I think Florida wins big. I think they're motivated, man. I really do. I think they win big. I'm not recommending 21 points, guys, but like you said, Dream, I mean, if you're under 2 touchdowns, I think you're pretty damn good because, Vandy scores 15.8 points a game.
Yeah, but Pesty, and they know Florida. It's an SEC, kind of, not really a rivalry, but they know each other. So that's why you gotta, there's too many points. I don't like it.
Too many points, man.
Too many.
All right. Dream, what's the next game that you're feeling as far as your radar is concerned? Remember, Dennis Dodd is going to break down the big three with us.
No doubt.
Which
is what I'm feeling, but I'm gonna have to wait for Double D. Dr. Dizzle, I want to hear your thoughts today. I'm gonna defer mine and go to Dr. Dan because I want to hear what you feel about the Notre Dame Pitt game.
Yeah. So, Hatter, you got the lines up for that?
I got Notre Dame is minus 9.5 with an under over a 53 in Pittsburgh.
Talk to me.
Yeah, so I really like Notre Dame here. I think, they survived that game at Temple, and I think Temple, even what happened, giving up 40 points last night, I still think they're a better team than Pitt. I mean, if Notre Dame wins out, and they have plenty of opportunity to do that from here on out, so their sole loss would be at Clemson by 2 points.
Yep.
I kind of think that they absolutely crushed Pitt today. I think that Notre Dame is strong in a lot of areas that Pitt is weak. The quarterback, look, he's looked very good for Notre Dame. 9.5, I'm feeling it, but look, I would include that. I would pair it with something with 10 points, get them like plus a half.
Okay.
Or, money line par it with two others.
Okay.
And do it that way. I do think they cover. I really do. But also, I'm a little concerned about the weather out there. If it's like a slop fest game, I know the field out in Pittsburgh is terrible. I mean, they're playing on Heinz Field, notoriously the worst field in the NFL.
Yeah.
So if footing is bad and you can't cut around the edge, you might see a very low-scoring, close game. But I think Notre Dame wins that.
Oh, okay, man. I'm looking at it here. Notre Dame is averaging about 37 points a game. Pittsburgh is giving up and allowing about 22. I think Notre Dame gets the job done. That 9.5 kind of bugs me out a little bit, though, Dream. I don't
really love the 9.5 either. But I like Notre Dame today as well. I wanted to get the stamp of approval from Doc because I know that's his team. You follow Notre Dame a little bit more than I do. I'm with you though, Hat. I know you're feeling a little antsy because you see Notre Dame struggle in a couple of situations, and I got that going on in the back of my mind too, which is why I wanted to ask Dan, his thoughts, especially in regards to the line. The issue here is though, I agree with Dan that Notre Dame and the coaching staff should be trying to, tell the kids that we need to impress. You know what I mean? We need to have impressive wins now going forward. So that being said, I'm not as scared of the 9.5. I would definitely though. You got to buy it down to 2, fellas. I mean, excuse me. You need to buy it down to 2. I think 2.5. Whatever. Get it under a touchdown, right? Get it under a touchdown.
All right.
Yeah.
Right.
And as long as you get under a touchdown, I think you're absolutely safe. Pitt doesn't scare me, and I think Notre Dame has to go out and get a couple statement wins just so they can, if not, try to make their little bid for the playoffs, which is going to be rough because they got the one loss, but get one of the upper BCS bowls.
They do, but remember, and their schedule isn't great, but they did, beat a ranked Temple team. That last game of the season will mean everything. It's at Stanford.
Yeah, well.
So,
here's the problem with Notre Dame is they don't play a conference championship, so that's good. That's
right.
You have to.
Yeah, but that almost benefits them because the way that it works with Notre Dame is they have the biggest draw in the country, maybe outside of Alabama. They have the biggest national draw, so that if you don't think that factors into the way these board members think and all that, it definitely does. And I'm telling you, if you have a one-loss Notre Dame team, they will get in over any other one-loss conference team, even with a conference championship win.
I highly disagree with you on that, Dan. Highly. You're my boy, and I love you.
You're telling me, no, that's fine. You can disagree with me. I got no issue with that. But you're telling me
they won't get in over Bama.
Yeah, they're not going to get in over Bama.
Here's the thing: if Clemson gets in as the number 1, let's say that Clemson runs the table fine, they stick at number 1. That means that Notre Dame's one loss is to the number 1 seed in the country. You're talking, I know that USC isn't that good, but they beat the teams on their schedule that, were supposedly okay when they were there. And if they beat Stanford at Stanford the last game of the year, which I think is going to be very, very difficult for them. But if they do it, and like you said, and that's why I like them today, they need big wins.
All right.
If they come out and they go into Pittsburgh and win by 30, That says a lot.
All right, well, you're going to have, let's say you have an undefeated Big 12 team, okay, who knocks off, let's say Baylor knocks off Oklahoma State, TCU, and Oklahoma. Yeah, or Oklahoma knocks everybody off and is a one-loss team. I mean, there's just so many different variables.
Get it over a one-loss Oklahoma team.
I do too.
All right.
I do too, but they won't get in over a one-loss Bama team, no.
No, or LSU or Florida or whoever emerges out of the SEC.
Well, if LSU loses, that means they'll lose to Alabama. So, I mean, unless they lose in, the SEC championship game, but, depending, and I know we'll get into that game later, but I think Notre Dame gets in over a one-loss LSU team.
All right, well, hey.
Because they're not going to put two SEC teams in.
I'm going to back myself up with Notre Dame. Don't you worry about that.
I know you will.
As far as futures are concerned. So, guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a call out right now to our guest and get him on the line, and we will have a quick conversation with Mr. Dennis Dodd from CBS Sports. Just give me 1 second while I'm pulling this up, guys. Just going to take a minute. Any other comments on that game, guys, while I'm doing this?
No, I don't really have any comments in regards to that game personally, but it will be good to see Notre Dame. I just, I hear you, Dan, with Notre Dame, but I know they have a following, and I agree with that. But you know what? The other thing we got going on now is there's a lot of eyes on the collegiate football. I mean, in scrutinizing the system and who they let in and who they don't let in. So any of the little old school favorites that we used to have, I think the grouping are gonna, the judges are gonna, kind of try to keep it as clean as possible because everybody's screaming, "Oh, this was."
Yeah, but also right. But the other thing we also have to look at Notre Dame against the spread. Against the spread, they only have 2 losses against the spread all year.
All right, cool deal, guys. I'm gonna
6-2 against the spread.
Let me see if I can get this gentleman in right now, and we will have a conversation with him.
Hey, this is Dennis.
Mr. Dodd,
Hello.
Dennis Dodd. This is Rob from SBTV Nation, along with Dr. Dan and The Dream. How you doing this morning?
Good. Let me, I got a call on hold. Let me get right back to you.
All right, no problem. So, guys, a lot of big games today, man. I'm just looking at the rest of the ticket. Dream. You know what? You got Houston, Memphis coming up in a couple of weeks.
All right, I'm here. Go ahead.
All right, Dennis. So, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, we're fantastic. Thank you for joining us again. We very much appreciate it. And thank you for retweeting our show as well. We saw that on Twitter.
Oh, good. Anything to help. You bet.
All right. Definitely. So we're taking a look at this stuff. Can you just reacquaint yourself with the audience here and just let everybody know who you are and what you do, please?
Dennis Dodd, national college football columnist for CBSSports.com for the last 17 years. Been covered college sports and college football for the last 30, I guess. 2006 president of the Football Writers Association of America, and proudly covered every BCS championship game, for better or worse.
Wow.
Dennis Dodd, then you are the exact excellent person to answer this question. As we were just debating with the doctor, we were talking about Notre Dame. If Notre Dame was to be at the end of the season, if Notre Dame had 1 loss, Dr. Dan feels that Notre Dame would be put into the playoff over another team, like let's say at Alabama or at LSU with 1 loss.
Alabama with 1 loss. Not Alabama with 1 loss. I think they would go in over Oklahoma with 1 loss, and I think they would go in over a 1-loss LSU team because I think if LSU loses, they lose today, and they're not going to put 2 SEC teams in.
What's your thoughts to that, Dan?
Well, I had just had that conversation with somebody this morning, but I think you're forgetting a team. Do you put them in over an 11-2 SEC champion Ole Miss?
I think because of the way that Notre Dame draws, and are they really going to – I mean, is Ole Miss – I don't know. I mean, if they win the SEC championship –
Very tough.
I guess.
I'll give you an easy out. Let's narrow it down to this week. If LSU, well, I'll tell you what. No matter who wins this LSU-Alabama game, if Notre Dame beats Pittsburgh, I think they're in this week for whatever that means, and it probably means nothing. But people will lose their minds writing about Notre Dame next week if they're in the top 4 for the first time, which I think all they have to do basically is beat Pittsburgh, and we're going to be talking about Notre Dame up until kickoff next Saturday.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Right, exactly. I mean, you're going to have, most likely you'll have an undefeated Clemson team. Any team that runs the table, in my personal opinion, in the Big 12, I feel that will get in. I also feel that the winner of the Michigan State-Ohio State game, whoever wins that game and plays Iowa, I believe the winner of that game would get in as far as the Big 10 championship. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Dennis, but I'm kind of feeling that way.
Well, I think so. Look, figure it this way. Any major college champion that's undefeated will be in, because that's what the playoff accounts for, because there's basically never been more than 4 anyway. Yep. The last time there was as many as 4 undefeated major college conference champions was 1993. There were 3 in 2004. That was the year Auburn was left out in the BCS. So, yes, I think you can pencil in the Big 12 champ if they're undefeated. I think you can pencil in the Big 10 champ if they're undefeated. But as was the case in the BCS, you lose a game in this system, you lose the right to argue.
Yep.
Because you're just lumped in a big old pile with everybody else, and it's up to that committee to decide.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think this is the year that comes closer to pushing them to a 6-team playoff.
Yep. Hey.
Well, 6 or 8, because you've got 10 undefeated teams going into Week 10, and after everything I said, yeah, you got to get a little bit nervous. We're going to end up with maybe six unbeaten teams. Now, a lot of these teams still play each other.
Yeah.
So that, again, TCU Baylor, we know that today. TCU Oklahoma State, one of those teams is going to be eliminated. So a lot of it will take care of itself. But if there's more than 4, and that possibility still exists, and if there's more than 3 with Notre Dame getting in there, it's going to be an issue.
Sure, absolutely. So speaking of TCU and Oklahoma State, let's dive right into that game, because that is a pretty big game today. Oklahoma State has last week I saw one of the worst defenses I've seen in quite some time outside of Texas Tech. But TCU is favored in this game -5.5, over 77 points. Do you think Oklahoma State has any chance whatsoever in an upset bid here?
Well, absolutely. Being at home, that's a hard place to play. It's a little bandbox of a stadium. I think it only holds 60,000. But absolutely, and it's worse at night. This one is in the afternoon. So, I just think that TCU has a slightly better defense and a better offense, if that makes sense. Oklahoma State needed 70 to win last week against a really, I think, mediocre Texas Tech. What are they going to need to beat TCU with Trayvon Boykin, who, besides Leonard Fournette, may be the best player in the country?
Yep.
And I think Gary Patterson, the coach, has resigned himself to the fact that if he's going to win the Big 12, it's going to have to be outscoring people, because they've just had too many injuries and had to play freshmen. They've had to play walk-ons. Now they're getting guys back, but the Big 12 is what it is. It's an offensive league. It features, the skilled players, but that's probably the best defensive player in this game is the Oklahoma State defensive end, Upa, who's a fantastic player. He's going to play on Sundays, but he's not surrounded by 10 elite players. So I would definitely take the over in this, if that's the question.
Over 77 points. Wow. Dream, you've been watching these shootouts for quite some time. I'm sure you agree with Mr. Dodd on that one.
Wait, that's not the first half over?
I'm going to tell you the thing that bothers me about this game when I look at it really quick, and I'm not going to make a whole lot out of it, but there's a couple common opponents, but the one game that sticks out to me is that TCU against Texas Tech, while it was a shootout, it was a dogfight for TCU. They won the game 55-52. Oklahoma State did get into a little bit of a shootout and a little bit of a dogfight with Texas Tech, but went in at half, made some halftime adjustments, and they came out and handled their business, and they handled it in impressive fashion. That's the only The only thing that when I want to go all over TCU and just love them to death in this game, but I am a little bit concerned as to why TCU struggled so much with Texas Tech and Oklahoma State didn't really as much. That being said, now you got TCU coming into Oklahoma State. Obviously, the atmosphere is going to be completely electric, and I'm just a tad bit concerned about that when I look at this game.
TCU is not a good road team.
Right.
For whatever reason. For a lot of the reasons I mentioned, because of depth issues on defense maybe. They beat Minnesota by 6, a very average Minnesota team. They should have lost to Texas Tech. They won, on a tip at the buzzer. Yep. In the back of the end zone of Josh Stockson's hands, to Aaron Green. K-State, they drove the length of the field after Bill Snyder refused to go on it on 4th and 2 deep in TCU territory, kicked the field goal, and that left TCU with like a minute and a half left to drive the field, and they did. And they won the game 52-45. Now, they did handle Iowa State, but that was a game at halftime. So I would expect them to struggle mightily. That's what I mean. I think, I would take Oklahoma State in the number. It's probably a field goal game, and it's probably an over.
All right, sounds good. Let's journey over to the SEC, man, because we got a really big one here. We got LSU and Alabama. LSU is undefeated. Alabama has that one loss under their belt. Alabama is favored in this game. What's your thoughts on Alabama and LSU this time?
I've got LSU, and I'm in the minority because I've seen Alabama a lot this season. I'm here right now. I just think this, as good as this team is, and it's getting better, it's just a tick below the classic Nick Saban teams. They are 80th in turnovers. They turn the ball over 14 times. Wow. Don't forget, it's going to rain here. It's raining here right now. The quarterback play is as shaky as it's ever been. If you've got to make an argument for John Parker Wilson being better back in 2008, then you've got a problem. That being said, Jacob Coker's last 3 games has completed 74% of his passes, and he's got a really improving set of receivers with Calvin Ridley, the freshman, topping it off. And Robert Mullaney, the transfer, is from Oregon State. It's a pretty salty group. The offensive line is good, too. I would watch Cam Robinson. He's the left tackle. He's had issues all year. Nobody quite knows what it is. Ankle, shoulders, whatever. He was victimized a lot of the time off the edge in the Texas A&M game. And I'm sure that front four, which is very good for LSU, will do that. I think this game will be decided by the front seven of Alabama against the great Leonard Fournette. The front seven against Alabama is very, very good. Alabama is number 3 in rush defense in the country, number 1 in the SEC, right, giving up 76 yards a game. Leonard Fournette is averaging 193 on his own, so something has to give.
Real quick, to speak about Fournette, what, Dennis, do you know what's the issue we're hearing about with the impermissible benefits to his family?
Well, before I address that, I just want to get my thought out.
Yeah.
Alabama has to decide how many it wants to put in the box against Fournette, because he is a singular talent you've got to run blitz on, I think, a lot of the time. If you go 8 or 9, he's strong enough to defeat the first wave and take it the distance in any given carry. If you go 5, 6, 4, then it could be death by 1,000 cutbacks, if you know what I mean. So it's I've never seen a back maybe stronger than him. We've seen him punch guys out of the way to create running lanes for himself. So, no, in terms of that story, I don't think it's much. I don't think it's one of these scandals. Oh, is he going to be on the field or not? The family or the website in question was taken down before the 2014 season started. It doesn't look like the family profited directly from any cash. It looks like they were given $20,000 in discounts, which means if the thing had ever launched and they were able to monetize it, maybe they could get free gear to have for themselves and maybe sell. But according to that story that I read, none of that happened, so I think he's in the clear.
All right. Sounds good. Yeah, looking at this game, so you're feeling LSU to win this particular game. I mean, LSU on the ground is amazing. They average over 300 yards per game on the ground. So what a good matchup that's going to be with the line versus the line in this particular matchup.
Well, they're not too bad in the air. Don't forget, Brandon Harris is one of 2 FBS quarterbacks, starting quarterbacks, not to throw an interception this season.
Yeah.
Now, I admit he's only thrown 128 passes in 7 games, but if they keep him relatively clear, his receivers are outstanding, especially this Dupree kid.
Yep.
They are fat, they're tall. You just got to get the ball to them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, we're talking about LSU and Alabama with Mr. Dennis Dodd from CBS Sports, who is actually out there right now waiting for the game patiently. Let's go over to one more game with you. I know you're a busy guy. Let's talk about Clemson FSU. Nobody seems to think that Clemson is going to lose any other games until the playoffs at least. Or maybe even be able to run the table and win the whole thing this year. What's your thoughts on the Clemson Tigers and the Florida State Seminoles?
I think Clemson's playing. They were number 1 in the college football rank or the CFP rankings this week. I think they're deservedly so. They're playing better than just about anybody out there. They're getting outstanding quarterback play from Deshaun Watson, who should be in the Heisman conversation. They're great defensively. They're in the top 15 both in rush and pass defense. And they face a Florida State team that's a little bit banged up. Dalvin Cook, I think, with the ankle, he's expected to play. Interesting to see who starts for Florida State at quarterback. They seem to be more confident in Sean McGuire with a stronger arm, the former backup, Everett Golson. That'll be interesting to see how they do. But I think people realize this is one of those games for the ages, games for Clemson in Death Valley. They get over Florida State. You're right. They probably punch their ticket to the playoff because they don't have much in front of them in terms of challenges. And don't forget, they haven't won the whole thing since '81, so this is the biggest game in maybe 35 years.
Oh, absolutely, and they will clinch the ACC Atlantic if they win this particular game and beat Florida State. And they would probably face the winner of today's game with North Carolina and the Dukies.
Yeah, which I think North Carolina is showing me something. If they win this game, they probably win the Coastal.
Yep.
It's going to be hard for them to beat Clemson, but I like what Larry Fedor is there this year done there with Marquise Williams. And Gene Chizik is the defensive coordinator. They've rebounded.
Sure, absolutely. Guys, you're listening to Dennis Dodd from CBS Sports, out right now at the LSU and Alabama pregame. So, hey, thank you very much for allowing us to call you and break down these particular games with you. A couple of big games, and we're very excited for college football.
Hey, Dennis, one more thing before you leave, brother. How did you feel about what's your thoughts on Utah, man? What happened with Utah?
Well, I still think they've still got the tiebreaker in the South. I think they've got. It looks like Utah Stanford in the Pac-12 title game. Now they stubbed their toe, obviously, against USC, and I would watch Kyle Whittingham being a big-time candidate for that job at USC until further notice. But I love Utah. I love what he's done there. I think they're going to keep winning. I think they're good.
Okay.
All right. Awesome.
All right. Thank you, brother.
All right. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much once again, and we appreciate it, brother. Thank you.
You bet. Thanks, guys.
Take care, Dennis. Thank you. All right, guys. So that was Dennis Dodd from CBS Sports. Very high caliber guest coming on here, man. At all the games, living the life, man, huh?
No doubt,
man.
That's what we need to be. We need to be SBTV kind of.
I mean, you guys saw. I mean, how hard it is to get a ticket for this game. You saw that girl down in Alabama, what she was offering, right?
No.
Oh, guys, this is the best story I ever heard. If you got small children, maybe you want to cover their ears. But this chick in Alabama was offering a threesome with her and her roommate. Absolute 10 out of 10 smoke if you have an Alabama LSU ticket. Oh. 2 tickets for a threesome. So, look that up, guys. I'm not BSing you. It's all over. It's a hilarious thing. I read the article about it yesterday, but that's how hot this ticket is.
All right. So why don't you just go over to one of the big ticket brokers, buy a ticket, and you're good.
Yo, I'm serious. If you are a college kid, okay, you will get another chance to go to a big-time football game. The only time where you get a chance with 2 hot blonde smokes from the South.
That's what I'm trying to say, man. Unbelievable. Yeah, I wonder what the girl's parents think.
Dude.
That makes parents proud, huh?
Let's put it this way. I'd be staging a kidnapping.
Oh, my God. Unbelievable. All right. So, guys, looking at these games, as far as your opinions on these particular ones, I'm going to go over to the Dream first, and then I'm going to go to you, Dan. As far as Florida State, Clemson, and the other one we talked about, LSU and Alabama. Dream, any opinions on any of those games?
I don't see Florida State being Clemson. I'm not taking Clemson. I'm not the biggest fan of them, and I don't like the way they play offense. So I'm not going to go nuts with this game. I'm not on it at all other than just to watch it. But I do like Clemson to win. I think they'll win the game. As far as the spread is concerned, I don't think they'll cover the 10. I see them probably winning out a nail-biter by 3. So obviously, guys, do what you got to do with that in reference to a teaser or a money line parlay situation. On the other game that you mentioned, the LSU-Alabama game, the game that bothers me about LSU and the game that they did win was Florida. I felt like LSU should have blew Florida out. They had them, and they kind of had them on the ropes, but weren't able to capitalize on the whole thing. That being said, I'm leaning Alabama, but it's another game that I'm not financially getting involved with. It's going to be a watch game. I think Alabama wins the game.
All right, Dan, those two games, what's your thoughts?
Pretty much on board with you, Dream. I'm not getting financially involved with either of them. Again, I think Clemson wins. I'm not sure they cover. And I really think this LSU-Alabama game is kind of a coin flip. Right now, obviously, it's pouring out there. So that obviously is going to affect some things. I can't touch it. They're going to be very interesting games to watch, but can't get involved.
All right, my opinion is this. I think Clemson wins the game. I think they come close to covering that spread or even covering that spread. I don't think Florida State is all that at all. We got to take a look at the running back situation, Dream, that you alluded to yesterday when we were texting each other back and forth.
Right.
Is Dalvin Cook in?
I don't know.
All right, we gotta guys, listen to SBTV Nation. If you could help us out with that information, we would very much appreciate it. But I think Clemson gets the job done with or without.
Everett Golson and Dalvin Cook are available, but now Jimbo's saying that he's not naming a quarterback.
All right, sounds good. But I think Clemson
good old
gets
Jimbo.
the job done. I think Clemson gets the job done, and believe it or not, you guys are going to hate this, but I believe Alabama wins today too.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah, I think Alabama wins today, and I just don't know about that 7 points.
It's strength on strength.
Strength on strength.
Strength on strength. I mean, Alabama stopping the run, LSU running the ball. That's why, I mean, you can't, if you're going to play this game, you can't have points. You got to get some plus points.
Exactly.
My thing with the run, and I told you guys this before, you can stop the run eventually.
Stack the box.
You know what I mean? You can stop the runs. And with Bama's front four, even if you don't stop it, you can significantly slow it down. Dude may come out off the hook in the beginning. If they're going to give him a ton of rabbit punches to the legs, those legs are going to get hit after hit after hit after hit after hit. By the fourth quarter, trust me, he will be not as effective. And I know that Bama's front four is very impressive guys, very impressive bunch of athletes. So LSU is going to have to develop another way to beat Alabama than just trying to run the ball, because that is not going to be the answer.
All right.
Well, yeah, and that's the other thing about that. I mean, and just trying to get into the mind of Les Miles, the first play of the game on offense, I would play action and throw the ball as deep as I can. Because what you're saying is true. I think they're prepared to stack the box. I think they're prepared to play, cover one, bringing people up, flat zone, so you're covering the outside, so you're shutting down the run. But, you know how it is. I mean, if Alabama does shut down the run, you do that for a quarter, it carries over. You start, the pass, you can hit a big pass any time. You start shutting down the run, you shut them down 2 or 3 yards per carry, they win the game. I mean, obviously, if Fournette has a big game, that means LSU wins.
All right, there's two teams here that I know it sounds crazy, but if there's like a big shakeup in like the Big 12 or the Big 10, let's say Ohio State beats Michigan State but then loses to Michigan and all that stuff, we're forgetting about the American Conference. I know it sounds crazy, but you got
either Memphis or Houston.
Yeah, you got 2 undefeated teams there. Hear me out.
No,
hear me out.
NFL quarterbacks.
You got Houston and Memphis. All right, Houston today is a minus. I want to say they're a -9 favorite versus Cincinnati. And you got Memphis as a -8 favorite versus Navy. Now, if these two teams run the table until they play each other, which is, I believe that game is coming up next week.
Next week at Houston.
All right, so let's say they one of these two, let's say Houston runs the table, beats everybody, and then wins their conference championship, and then there's a mess everywhere else.
They're not getting in.
They're not getting in, huh?
No.
You don't think so?
No way.
I don't know, Dream. I don't know.
I mean, the schedule is just so bad.
Yeah,
they're not getting in.
I mean, you're talking about Missouri State, Kansas, Bowling Green, Cincinnati,
I'm saying
South Florida. But I mean, and you got to know, how do we feel about the Ole Miss win? At Tulsa was very impressive. For Memphis.
Who you gonna put him in over? Because now you're telling me now there you go. Now Notre Dame really's not getting in, Dr. Dan.
No, I know, and I the thing I just
I'm on your bandwagon. Notre Dame is definitely getting in over Houston.
Of course.
If there's
that's obvious. The problem is not only will one of these teams not get in, even if they're undefeated, they might have the best point differential in the country.
Yeah.
One of these teams, and like I said, they didn't play anybody, but they still scheduled the games. Memphis still scheduled Ole Miss. Nobody knew Kansas was going to be this bad. Yep. They scheduled it. They still have at Houston, at Temple.
All right.
I mean, they're not going to get in, but they'll get a very good bowl game. They might get, one of those bones thrown to them where they get ranked number 5. Which is meaningless, but to a program like that means everything.
You got a bunch of 2-loss conference champions. I'm saying.
I guess if you do,
an undefeated American conference.
Houston has a small shot, in my opinion. Houston has a small shot in the dark, small, very tiny. Memphis, no shot.
Okay.
Well, here's the thing. Let's say Stanford loses another. Let's say they lose to Oregon or Cal.
Yep. That's
right.
What I'm saying. Yep.
And let's say that Notre Dame goes into Stanford and they lose to Stanford. So you have a 2-loss Stanford team and 2-loss Notre Dame team. X them out.
Yep.
And then, so let's say LSU loses today. And then there's a 2-loss SEC team that'll get in, but only one. And then, like you said, Hatter, if everything in the Big 12 goes to hell, Oklahoma 2 losses, Texas, TCU might have 2 losses. If Baylor gets, 2 losses or something like that, that's the only way.
But it is.
It's feasible.
It is a possibility. All right,
100%.
I think.
I put a future on it.
Yeah, I'm going to go. Well, I got a better idea as far as future is concerned, Dan, which you and I will have a conversation after the show about. But anyway, Houston, I believe, beats Cincinnati today. I don't think they cover the 9 points. I think it'll be a shootout.
Oh, I think they do.
All right. And Memphis, I believe, will beat up on Navy as well. Memphis -8. I believe those two teams go into next week's showdown, both undefeated. 2 other games on the ticket.
Real quick, Hatter, the only other thing we're forgetting about Houston is their defense has been ridiculous. And I know they played some garbage teams, but 7 points at Tulane, 10 points at UCF, and a shutout at Vandy.
Got it.
I mean, they've outscored like 130-17 in the last 3 weeks.
All right. I hear you.
They're getting it.
2 other games we need to talk about, guys, because these games do influence what's going to happen in the playoffs, and we are talking about the Big Ten Conference. We are talking about the nasty Iowa versus Indiana, and Iowa -7 with an under-over of 60. Dream, I'll let you talk about nasty Iowa since that's your team.
Oh, man. I like Iowa today, obviously.
All right, yeah.
That's funny.
7-point favorite in Indiana. The Iowa Hawkeyes are 8-0, looking at a conference championship and probably going to face either Michigan State or The Ohio State University and look to knock them off on a neutral site. But what you got here, brother?
I like Iowa to get it done. They should, like I said, it's time now to take the gloves off and try to win in impressive fashion as everybody's watching you. All eyes are on you now. It is crunch time, so they need to go in there in Indiana, and they need to have a kind of an impressive victory. I think that they will cover the 7, but if you got it at 7, just buy it down to 6.5, obviously, just to be, to be safe. But I see Iowa beating Indiana quite impressively. I don't see Indiana being too much of a problem for this Iowa team. And Iowa's a well-rounded team, by the way, on top of it. They run, they throw the ball. Their defense is pretty good. So they've kind of got a full, a nice, well-rounded, full balanced team, which I like that, going forward into the area where they're headed at.
Defense is great.
Yep.
Allowing 15.3 points a game. Dan, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, the defense is great. I also think that they cover. I also think that Tevon Smith has a big day today for Iowa.
Okay.
I think he goes off. So definitely take a look at him if you're doing your daily fantasy stuff. But yeah, I mean, look, I know a lot of people like Indiana here today because they held it close with Michigan State, they held it close with Ohio State. I think that benefits Iowa in the fact that their coach ain't having it.
All right.
He's gonna. You don't think that they watched the tape on that and showed how that team, stayed close?
Sure.
So, Indiana's not a terrible team, but Iowa should take care of business today.
Michigan State going into nasty Nebraska. Michigan State minus only 6.5 points with an under-over of 57. Nebraska fell way off this year, man. They are 3-6, and 8-0 Sparty is coming into town. However, Nebraska might be smelling upset here. Dan, what's your thoughts on Nebraska? I mean, last year when they played, it was really tight. Michigan State only won by 5.
I mean, look, Nebraska has come close to a couple big time upsets, but I don't like the points here at all. I mean, I'm not touching this game. I think it'll actually be kind of close, but I mean, I still think Sparty gets it done. I still think they win. It's a home game. It's a home game for Nebraska.
Yes.
But even so, I mean, you're talking about a team that gave up 55 to Purdue last week. So I think Michigan State should definitely be able to get it done.
Dream, what's your thoughts on Sparty?
Michigan State, I think they'll get it done. Once again, another team, they got to get out there and impress. They need an impressive win. Don't go around playing around. But here's the deal. Don't take Nebraska lightly, though, because Nebraska would love nothing more than to be a spoiler right now. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, you can't take them lightly. That's why I'm not touching the game.
Right, yeah.
But
it's not a game that I like either.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I lean that State wins, but I'm not confident. I think it will be a fairly close game.
All right, sounds good. Had to get a little jigga in the background, Dream.
No doubt. You can never go wrong with the jig.
With the Hove, kid. All right, so that's pretty much it, guys, as far as that's concerned. I would like to just bounce it around here and see if there's any other junky plays of the day that any of you guys are feeling. I'm going to start with Dan since it's the junky time. See if Dan's got any junky plays, and we will go to the Dream after that. Any other games tickling your fancy, Dan?
I mean, not so much. There's a couple things today that I'm still looking at. I kind of like UCLA.
Okay.
Over Oregon State. And the other one, and I do have a line. What's the line right now in Kentucky, Georgia?
Kentucky, Georgia. Wow, you love that Kentucky team, huh?
Well, I'm not necessarily loving the team, but what I'm liking is possibly an underplay here.
All right. I can't find it on my board. I'm trying to look for it. I'm looking all throughout the casinos in Las Vegas and can't find Kentucky for some reason. Oh, here we go. Georgia, 15.5-point favorite over Kentucky today.
Oh, yeah. Why didn't I think that I saw it under double digits? But Georgia's just looked so bad.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, they've looked so bad. And Kentucky has not been great, but they've played a tough schedule.
Sure.
I don't think playing Georgia affects them. 15.5, I mean, that's maybe one where you look at another team, add 7 points to it, get up to 22.5, or even 6.
Yep.
21.5, get it over 3 touchdowns, and just laugh.
Okay.
Maybe pair one other team and do that. But yeah, I actually like that a lot. What's the over-under on that?
The total on that particular game is 58 points.
So it's 58 points right now. Maybe I even pair it with the over-under and tease it together. 6.5, get it, get that up to 64.5, and plus 21.5, and laugh. I think that's probably the best play of the day.
All right, Dream, any thoughts on any games here?
The only other game that I like that we haven't talked about is I like Texas A&M against Auburn today. I like Texas A&M. They're at home. The spread is -7 out of Vegas. If you guys are getting involved in this game, get it in your teaser and your listen. I think teasers and moneyline parlays today. The 6.5 version. On some of these. Some of the better upper echelon schools at home, or even a couple of road guys you could play with. Like you could take a shot with Iowa and not really in stress. But I think if you go like 1 to 2 teams in a teaser or money line parlay, you are not going to go wrong today. I'd stay away from there's no reason to get involved in that LSU Bama game other than to watch. I mean, really, when you think about it, with the landscape of the games that we have on the plate right now, there's no need to play with the games that are possible coin flips. You got a couple games out there to me that look like home runs. So just go out there, tease it, moneyline parlay, and you should be all good.
All right, sounds good. Just so you guys know what I'm feeling Houston. I'm feeling Memphis. I am feeling, believe it or not, I'm feeling Alabama to win that particular game. And there was one more on my radar that I just can't find, if you just give me a second. But
was it Stanford?
It is not Stanford. No, I'm not feeling Stanford today. Clemson.
You said Clemson.
Clemson Tigers, Houston, Memphis, and Alabama. Those are my 4 as far as just to win the games outright. No spreads involved. And I think if you put those all together, I think it would be a nice, attractive little slip, if you catch my drift. So
I don't think you play. I just said it. I wouldn't play with Bama.
Okay.
I mean, just too competitive again. I'd rather throw Iowa in than Bama, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I just think Bama's. It is possible that LSU could, surprise Bama.
Yeah. Right.
Considering what Ole Miss did, I just think Iowa is an easier game, in my opinion.
Big ups to my man Marlon for hooking Irvin up with some hockey. Good stuff, man. Guys, I got to, unless you have any NBA or ice on your ticket, your boys got to get out of here at some point, man, really, really soon. So, Dream, you got any ice or NBAs on your ticket?
I'm looking. I'm going over to it right now. I'm taking a look. I didn't get a chance to look prior to the show because we were trying to find the music.
Yes.
Now, Dream, maybe you can let me know how you feel about this, and I don't have the lineup, but I like the the Winnipeg Jets over the Flyers at home tonight.
Winnipeg Jets over the Flyers.
I probably like that because the Flyers are just, the Flyers.
And especially on the road, Winnipeg's been playing pretty well.
Hold on one second. I'm trying to get to it. I don't know why.
I have 2 as far as a moneyline parlay situation. I got the Chicago Bulls over the Minnesota Timberwolves. Minnesota Timberwolves coming into town, and I'm feeling pop. And the San Antonio Spurs, who are hosting the Charlotte Hornets tonight at home. So I like those particular spots.
Yeah, I like the Jet. That's a pretty good call. The Jets at home against the Flyers. I like that. That's a safe. I'm not going to get involved with it personally, but that looks like a good call. I like that game.
Yeah, and if you pair the Jets with the Caps in a 2-team money line, it's actually plus money.
Okay.
Yep, and I love the Caps against the Maple Leafs. That's another good one. I like that. And I also like Montreal. There's
only minus 145 for Montreal at home today.
There's some ice. I really like Montreal over the Bruins. I told you the Bruins run out of gas towards the end of the game, and the Canadians have been playing at a high level. So I listen. I'm all over it. Looking like I like a 3-team. I like the Jet Flyer game. I don't love it, so I probably would. For me personally, as far as financially, I probably stay away from it only because I prefer the Caps and the Canadians.
Yeah, and the other one that I really like, and people might kill me for this, and I like St. Louis on the road in Nashville.
I thought you were going to like it. Dude, it's hard to win in Smashville, player.
I know.
It's hard to win in Smashville.
I know, and both these teams are very, very good. Maybe I get it at plus 1.5.
Yeah, it's hard to win in Smashville. I
know.
You might want to try to over in that too, because there'll be some goals scored.
Yeah, that's very true. So there's a ton out there today, and 5. I thought it was going to be 5.5, but I'll take the 5. You're right.
All right, you could look at
that. It is minus 135.
Yep.
Got it. All right, guys. Sounds good, man. So we're going to get up out of here, and we will have a conversation later on, and I'm looking forward to getting involved with you guys tomorrow as far as the NFL is concerned. And we are on Twitter right now, guys, and the dream is going to let everybody know who has been retweeting our show, man. So what do we got? So, Dan, what do you want today?
I mean, like I said, very, very little. If anything, really at all financially. I'm looking at doing the Kentucky teaser. So I'm going to probably add 6 points to Kentucky, get them up to plus 21.5, and then get the over up. I think it was like 50-something. But that's really it. I'll be honest. I haven't been loving college football, and I'd rather keep my bankroll for the NFL tomorrow.
All right. Sounds good. Dream, what do you want?
I right now am a big fan of Iowa. I'm probably going to do a Iowa-Clemson moneyline par or 2-team tease, something in that respect. I really like Iowa. I like Clemson a lot. I also do like Houston too, so I may actually add a third team to that. We'll see. I have to figure it out. I may just I like to just pair up the twos, so I may probably go Iowa-Clemson in the moneyline par, then maybe go
Iowa Clemson Canadians, kid.
No. I'm going to separate the hockey from the college football. Plus, the hockey's tonight, so I'll get involved with it tonight. But yeah, on the ice, we do like Canadians, and I also like the Washington Capitals. As far as the other scenario, we would probably go maybe Houston and possibly Michigan State. I still got to look for another team to put it with, but I'll get back to you guys a little later on that. As far as everybody that's retweeting the show, I want to thank, because we're getting out of here. Direct Sports Solution, good morning to you, and thank you so much for your help and your support for retweeting the show. Terrence Mack is out there to pick my boy Irvin, Lewis Carter, JDH, 24, G Rose, Rick Lopez, Bob Ball, and Mike, Tip Talker, Pete Perez, Benjamin Rowe, Tyrone Reed, Vegas Girl 92661, Fast Eddie 72, AB Lent, MJ 86, Ciroc King J, MC Money, OJFB, Marlon, D-Rod JC, Ippy Easy's out there, Matthew James is out there, Nicholas J, Tommy King from TK Wins is out there, APB, Jay Snyder, Sir Mata, BT, Heavy 365, LA Wizkid, KMVU, Jan Stafford. Guys, there are a lot of people out there that are giving out some information and sharing some things. I know AZ Wildcat put out a little something that he liked. Papa Smirk has a teaser out there that he likes. Hit these guys up. You know, you could DM them, retweet them, whatever, and ask them what they're on. If you're interested in some of the stuff that they got going on today, use all the nation to your best ability so you can come up with some winners today. Listen, today should be, honestly, relatively easy. I know it's never easy, but today should be a pretty easy day. We got some very nice spots, some very nice situations for some teams, so jump on it and get out there and get that money. I am the dream. Always remember who you're with. Make the most of each and every day, as you cannot get this time back.
All right, guys, what your boy is feeling over here, I feel like a bunch of different teams as far as just to win their respective games. I am looking at, obviously Florida and Oklahoma, I'm feeling them to win, but they're such heavy favorites that, it is what it is. Any teams that are looking to clinch their respective conferences as far as Clemson is concerned and Florida, obviously I'm looking at those two teams to win. I am looking at Memphis and Houston both to win their respective games. And I'm looking at Alabama. I think Alabama gets the job done and beats LSU in their building. And that's pretty much what I'm looking at, guys. We love you to death. Go out there. Go easy. Do your own homework. Take your own place. Make all your dreams a damn reality and get that money. Let's
be
go.
Careful with Bama if Hat loves it. Peace.